Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something truly unsettling that happened to a guy named Elias. Elias lives alone in a cozy third-floor apartment, or at least he thought he was alone. It all started on a Tuesday at exactly 4 o'clock in the morning. You know that deep, heavy sleep you get into right before dawn? Well, the sharp ding of a text message cut right through it. Elias reached out, eyes half closed, fumbling for his phone on the nightstand. When the screen illuminated his face, he saw a notification from a number he knew by heart. It was his own number. He opened the message, expecting a glitch, but what he saw made the blood drain from his face. It was a photo, a clear, high-resolution photo of him, sleeping, taken from the foot of his bed. He sat up instantly, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He scanned the room, the blue light of the phone casting long, jagged shadows against the walls. The door was locked. The windows were shut. There was no one there. He tried to tell himself it was some kind of sophisticated hack or a prank by a tech-savvy friend. But how? The angle of the photo was impossible. It looked like someone had been standing right at the edge of his bed, looking down at him. He checked his sent folder. There it was, a message sent at 4 a.m. to himself. He deleted it, shaking, and stayed awake until the sun finally started to bleed through the curtains, feeling like a stranger in his own home. The second night was worse. Elias had spent the whole day checking his security settings and even changed his Apple ID password. He went to bed at midnight, exhausted but wired. He kept the lamp on, hoping the light would act as a shield. But sleep is a thief. Eventually, his eyes drifted shut. Ding! 4 a.m. exactly. He didn't even have to look, but he did. This time, the photo was closer. It was a shot of his face, his mouth slightly open in sleep. But in the background, just at the edge of the frame, there was a flash of white, like a piece of fabric. He jumped out of bed, grabbing a heavy flashlight, and swung it around the room. Empty. Just the smell of something strange, like old jasmine and earth. Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, why didn't he just leave? Well, Elias did try. He went to a hotel on the third night. He checked into a bright, modern room on the 10th floor, far away from his apartment. He left his phone on the desk across the room and huddled under the covers. He felt safe. But at 4 a.m., the ding echoed through the sterile hotel room. He crawled toward the desk, his hands trembling so hard he almost dropped the device. The photo was there, but it wasn't him in his apartment. It was him right there in the hotel bed. And this time, in the reflection of the hotel mirror behind the bed, you could see a faint silhouette of long, matted black hair. Elias began to lose his mind. He stopped going to work. He stopped eating. He spent his days researching self-sending photos and phantom callers. That's when he stumbled upon the old folklore of the Kuntilanak. In Southeast Asian legends, she is a spirit of a woman who died under tragic circumstances. She's known for her long white dress and hair that flows to her feet. They say you know she's near when you smell the sweet scent of frangipani, followed by a sudden, sickening stench of decay. But more importantly, they say she doesn't just haunt places, she attaches herself to the soul of those who acknowledge her. By opening those messages, Elias had invited her in. He hadn't just been receiving photos, he had been giving her permission. By the 6th night, Elias decided to fight back. He wouldn't sleep. He set up 3 different cameras in his room, all connected to a cloud server. He sat in the middle of his bed, holding his phone, staring at the screen. 3:58 a.m., 3:59 a.m. He gripped the phone so hard his knuckles turned white. The clock flipped to 4 a.m. Silence. No notification. He felt a wave of relief wash over him. Maybe he had broken the cycle. Maybe she only could take photos if he was unconscious. He let out a shaky laugh and looked at his phone screen to check the time again. But the screen didn't show the time. It showed the camera app. It was open, and it was in selfie mode. In the selfie preview, Elias saw himself, but he wasn't alone. Hovering just inches behind his head was a face so pale it looked like wet paper.
The eyes were nothing but deep, dark pits, and the mouth was pulled back into a wide, unnatural grin. It was the kuntilanak. She wasn't holding the phone. She was draped over his back like a heavy cloak, her long, cold fingers resting gently on his shoulders. He realized then that the ding wasn't a text message arriving from the network. It was the sound of his own phone taking the picture, triggered by the entity that was literally riding on his back every night. She wasn't sending the photos to him. She was showing him what she saw.
The air in the room turned ice cold, and that sweet jasmine smell returned, thicker than ever. He tried to scream, but his throat felt like it was filled with wet hair. He tried to move, but his limbs were leaden, paralyzed by a fear so ancient it felt like it was part of his DNA. On the phone screen, he watched as the spirit's hand reached out and tapped the send button on a draft message. A new notification appeared at the top of his screen. Message from me. He watched himself in the selfie view, his own eyes rolling back into his head as the kuntilanak leaned in and whispered something into his ear. A sound that wasn't words, but the high-pitched giggle of a woman who had forgotten how to be human. The next morning, the police found the apartment door wide open. Elias was gone. His bed was neatly made, almost too neatly. The only thing left behind was his smartphone, sitting right in the center of the pillow. When the investigators turned it on, they found the photo gallery. There were hundreds of photos, all taken at 4 a.m. But the last photo wasn't of Elias. It was a photo of the empty bed, taken from the ceiling. And in the very corner of the image, you could see Elias's feet dangling from the attic crawlspace, his toes pointed down, swinging slightly. Beside the phone was a single, fresh frangipani flower, its scent still lingering in the air, despite the windows being wide open. This story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the things we fear aren't outside our homes trying to get in. Sometimes they are already here, hiding in the blue light of our screens and the shadows of our own reflections. The kuntilanak doesn't need an invitation to enter your house. She only needs you. There's a twist to Elias's story that the police never released to the public. You see, the cloud server he set up, it kept recording. The footage didn't show a woman in white. It didn't show a ghost. It showed Elias, standing on his own bed at 4 a.m., holding the phone above his own sleeping body, his eyes wide and vacant, his mouth moving in a silent, rhythmic chant. He was the one taking the photos, but he wasn't the one in control. The kuntilanak doesn't just watch. She wears you. She had become his shadow, his second skin, using his hands to document his own slow descent into her world. He wasn't being haunted. He was being replaced. Thanks for watching this episode of our 4 a.m. series. If this story gave you the chills, make sure to hit that like button and share it with someone who always keeps their phone by their bed. We have plenty more urban legends and paranormal mysteries coming your way, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Let us know in the comments, have you ever received a message that you couldn't explain, or felt a presence in your room at the witching hour? We'd love to hear your stories, if you're brave enough to tell them. Until next time, stay safe and try to get some sleep, if you can.